Welcome to my other show. My name is Susan Rushton, and this is Muse. This is the show on which I'm privileged to, I'm allowed to, I'm tickled to talk to people who are visited by the Muse, by which I mean dancers, musicians, actors, performers, creators of most stripes. And sometimes I get to talk to people who might not necessarily be visited by the Muse, but who enable people who are visited by the Muse, and therefore provide access to people who want to enjoy people who are enabled by the Muse. So today my guests are two of my favorite people from one of my favorite Auburn organizations, the State Theater. Auburn State Theater. This is Janice Wyckoff, Executive Director of the State Theater.
Hello.
Hello. And Barbara Goodson, who is Fundraising Manager.
Correct.
Excellent. And before I go any further, I need, as always, to tell you about where the State Theater is and what it does. Well, we'll find out what it does. But the Auburn State Theater, livefromauburn.com. 985 Lincoln Way, Suite 104, although, once you're at 985 Lincoln Way, you don't need to go much further. Auburn, California, 95603. Office hours of the office, 9 to 4:30 p.m. Tuesday through Friday. Phone them 530-885-0156. Okay, that's the basic information, but now we get to go to the fun stuff.
Here's the fun stuff.
Here's the fun stuff. So, my first question that I wrote down this morning is: Do you still have empty seats that people need to buy?
Oh, sponsoring
seats.
We have 2 seats remaining.
Wow.
And those actually go with a row. One of our big fundraising events early on, when we were raising funds to refurbish the theater, was to have people sponsor an entire row.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. We still have 1 row, and so with your row, you get 2 seats.
Okay.
But we just we just had a couple more seats sponsored.
Wonderful.
So they're going fast.
Yes, yeah. And Dawn and I have a seat, and I can never remember where it is, and it's a kick to discover that I am either sitting in it or right behind it.
Right. I'll tell you what we need to do, and we should have done it by now, quite frankly, is we need to create a map in the lobby so people can find their seat.
Yeah.
And if you're ever going to come to the theater and you just can't remember which seat it is, just let me know.
Okay.
I'll look it up for you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. I remember, and we're going to go further on this, but on other subjects, but I remember Dean Prigmore sitting at the end of his row, but somebody else was sitting in his seat. Wait a minute. But he came late. He got tickets late.
Oh, well.
Well, you can't always sit in your own seat.
No, okay. So, what is the basic point of the Auburn Theater?
Oh, the basic point of the Auburn State Theater is to continually operate the theater in a manner that is improving community economics, quality of life, entertaining people, having it be used by community organizations, bringing high-class entertainment, bringing headliners, bringing innovators, We just had the Ray Charles project. I was telling Barbara on the
And
way
that was sold
here.
out, I saw.
Oh my gosh, that was a great performance.
That's wonderful.
That was a great performance. We have a film series, we have live events, we have community events, people rent the theater.
And it really is the hub of downtown. We not only bring people in from the whole region who want to come in and experience the entertainment or the information that is provided, because we do lectures and documentaries.
Right.
But they also come and go to the restaurants and go to the shops, and it provides a vibrancy, and I think it really does. It's a magnet for people to come to Auburn.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, that's a great way of describing it.
Yeah.
Yes. And
here
since
are.
we expanded, it's 2014 that we reopened, and this is 2019. So that's how long it's been expanded.
Yeah, and you're continuing to expand. So here we are. This is part of the plan, is it not, to do something upstairs?
Well,
Not yet?
no, not
Okay.
really, not
Okay.
really. We are always looking at ways to make the theater more functional for the patron experience. So we are always looking at opportunities to enhance the community space around the marquee room where we have concessions, and figure out how to maybe open that up so there's more easy access. And also, we know that we need to make improvements in other facilities.
And we'll just say facilities with a capital F. Everybody who comes to the theater understands that there is need to fix the restrooms.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these are in the planning stages.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I remember an early image picture of what the organizers wanted, and there were lots and lots of restrooms over on the side. That was what
Well,
Paul
like
Ogden
all
was.
theaters, it is a long-term commitment to the community, and as well as to the patrons, and everything takes funding.
Yeah.
It takes usage, it takes funding, it donors, volunteers, and programming really walk hand in hand, don't you think?
Okay.
But it's all about, as Janice said, the patron experience.
Yes.
That we want everybody, when they think, oh, I'm going to go to a show at the State Theater, I'm going to be able to enjoy my seat, I'm going to be able to enjoy local wine and beer and take it to my seat.
Yeah.
And the rest of the facilities are going to be, nice and available.
Yeah.
So it's really about the experience.
I want to say that I have never had a bad experience. I've always had a good experience.
Great.
Yay!
With the facilities and elsewhere.
We are so happy about that. I would say that for most people, that's true. I
Okay.
would say for most people, that's true.
Okay, good.
And we have listening devices. When we ordered those, we ordered the kind that Mondavi Center has, because one of our donors told us that if you're going to get listening devices, get what Mondavi Center has. They're the best. So that's what we have.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Do people use them very often?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
The same people? Because that would be good. But maybe that's not, you don't keep track of that. But
Oh, well, the same people and different people.
Oh, good.
Because we have return patrons, and then we always have new patrons.
Yeah.
Right.
You always have new patrons.
We always
have new patrons.
We always have new patrons. And one thing we've started doing is keeping track of what percentage of the audience is new, and it is always around 35%, interestingly to know.
Really?
Yes. Not so much with movies. Not so much with movies.
Okay.
No.
But that's impressive.
Isn't that great?
That's exciting.
Yes.
It is.
Up to 35% every
Yes.
time. That's,
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Almost always true. Almost always true.
So of course it's great to see familiar faces.
Of course.
And we have our very loyal patrons, but we want to spread the word as much as possible. So having new people at every show is it's marvelous.
Yes.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things about having people rent the theater as well, is they bring their audience and our audience, and you end up with the great blending of theater goers, which is what is supposed to happen.
So I'm pretending I'm at home listening to this and watching us, and I learn that the State Theater is available for rent.
Don't ask me how much it costs.
Okay. Yeah, no, but that is never something that I had that I would ever have imagined that that the State Theater or any theater is available for rent. But lo and behold, it is.
It is.
And one gets a lot of, and I speak from experience. I had a great time, and they made it easy for us.
We do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a great opportunity to not only have the audience come from the core of the people who rent the theater, but it's also wonderful that we can present the kind of information that outside, folks who are going to rent the theater, and just new forms of music and
Yes.
a wide variety of music and entertainment. So it's not just incumbent upon Janice to find acts and book the thing. That people are coming in and they want to rent the theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Every theater has this.
Okay. Good. So, so we are currently in the beginning of September of 2019.
Hard to believe.
Hard to believe.
Yes.
Yes. So what's coming up?
Oh, loads of things.
Loads of things.
Loads of things. Just this week, in fact.
Yes.
We're showing the documentary Echo in the Canyon, which is all about Laurel Canyon, the musicians that came out of Laurel Canyon, how
In California.
Yes, how that has created the music of the 70s. We just finished, I'm going to go back for a second.
Okay.
We just finished a very successful program called 50 Years Ago at the Movies.
Yes.
Where we showed a slight retrospective of some of the top movies of that time. So showing Echo in the Canyon right after that is just a great thing to be able to do. So that's Thursday. And then Saturday, an amazing tribute band, the Floyd, out of Reno, will be here.
They're coming back.
They're coming back. They were here 2 years ago. They load in on Friday at 8 o'clock, and they begin setting up for their Saturday night show.
Yeah.
So if you don't have tickets for that, I recommend you get them, and it may be sold out for all I know.
And it's extremely likely, since they've been here more than once, that they'll be here again. It's too bad if you're seeing this after the first weekend of September, which is likely. But note that these big deal things are going on.
Well, and then we have Tannehill Weavers. I don't know when your show airs, but we have Tannehill Weavers, which is out of Scotland, and they were here 4 years ago, and that also sold out. So that's in September.
Good.
And then the Tony Furtado Trio, and he is a mandolin banjo player extraordinaire, and he's bringing Luke Price with him, who is second-time national fiddle champion in the United States. And I don't know who the third player is, quite frankly. But we also have two very interesting different items in September. One is called State of the Climate, and we're working with Placer County Youth Commission and bringing a scientist named Dana Noticelli to the State Theater, who will be talking about climate change, all aspects, all ranges, what you hear and what you don't hear. And he is, so that is in mid-September, in the middle of the week. We also have Randy Cohen, the Vice President of Americans for the Arts, who will be coming to speak about economic prosperity through the arts.
Yeah.
And that is complimentary, and I hope lots of people will come.
By which you mean, you say it's free. This complimentary means it's free. And this is, he's going to talk about...
Yes, he's speaking for 1 hour.
Economic benefits.
About the economic benefit of the arts in communities and in the United States right now. Americans for the Arts is a nonprofit organization, and this is what they do. This is their entire purpose in life, is to measure the impact of the arts in communities.
So that it promotes the arts as just for the art's sake, but also showing that it is
there's a tangible
development,
practical result.
Yes.
Aside from, oh, isn't this beautiful, or isn't this funny, or look at me.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing about the Cohen lecture is tickets are complimentary, but you still need to get a ticket.
Okay.
So please plan ahead. Don't just come that night and. I mean, you don't just walk in. You do need a ticket, but they are complimentary.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds exciting.
That's very exciting.
Yes.
One of the things that they measure is how much patrons spend going out to eat, getting a babysitter, where the food comes from that the restaurant is serving, all of these kinds of things, whether the patron had to pay for parking, whether they went out for coffee afterwards. It is estimated that each patron spends around $27 per person above the ticket price in the community where they're seeing the symphony, something at the State Theater, going to a concert in the park, you name it.
Yeah. That's study, and I guess they're fine tuning the information, because that information has been around for a while, which has always been thrilling to hear. That's great.
Oh, and they measure the impact on staff in the community. How many times our staff eats lunch out? How many times our volunteers eat lunch out? What we buy from within our community, how much beer we buy, how much wine we buy, how many cookies we buy from Baker and the Cake Maker. The fact that we're too small of an organization to have our own account with Natural Trading Company. So we work, with United Natural Industries. So we work with Natural Trading Company to order our organic popcorn. So it's really, all these things impact staffing.
Yeah.
In other businesses.
Okay. Yeah. So, Barbara, you're in charge of fundraising.
Right.
What does that mean?
That means basically that because the State Theater wants to keep our ticket prices reasonable so that everybody can come to the shows, the ticket price does not cover the full cost of presenting a show. So I provide the opportunity for businesses to sponsor either a show or a season. I also ask the community to pitch in if they can and become a member of the Auburn State Theater, which is quite reasonable. And at a certain level, you get a discount off of your tickets whenever you buy them.
And I want to interrupt you for a moment.
Sure.
And you say that you go out to the community and invite organizations and people to be sponsors.
Yes.
Of a season or a show. And evidence of that is always on the screen before the show.
Right.
And it's always, I'm always impressed to see how many organizations and how many companies and people are participating in this.
Me too. I love it. And a broad range of businesses sponsor. And I think that just shows how much the community appreciates the theater.
Yes.
And how the people who do sponsor appreciate the fact that we're bringing in a broad audience.
Yes.
Because that's what they're trying to, those are the people that they're trying to reach.
Sure.
We also have, if I can talk about our fundraiser, our big fundraiser.
Please talk about your big fundraiser.
So other organizations have galas. The State Theater has its own fundraising event called Cocktails and Cinema.
Okay.
And in the past, we've actually shown a movie. We've had a party and we show a movie from a certain decade.
Right.
So last year it was the 50s, the year before it was the 1940s. This year is the 1960s. So we're going to have a groovy time. It's going to be a swinging shindig. And we are going to, instead of showing an actual movie, we've had a compilation of movie clips and iconic television advertising, because that really was when TV advertising just took off. And so this compilation that was made just for us, we couldn't pick a movie that was iconic of the 60s because it was so diverse.
Yeah.
I mean, even we like people to come in costume for the party, and you can decide that you want to wear bell bottoms and tie-dye, or you could wear Jackie O with the pillbox hat. So I expect that it's going to be really interesting to see what people wear. We're going to have a game show with community members as the contestants called the Not So Newlywed Game.
Okay.
And we're going to have the Batmobile.
Oh boy.
Out front.
Okay.
Now, the real Batmobile.
It's we have to say this correctly, which I just learned, luckily, just in time for this show. It's one of 9 replicas from DC Comics and Warner Brothers. So the gentleman who owns it lives in Winchester, and he is allowing us to sell drawing tickets for a ride in the Batmobile with a dinner at Winchester. So that will be one of the fun things that we're doing. And as Barbara said, this compilation was made by Elliot Anders.
Oh boy.
Who, as anyone who knows Elliot Anders knows, he is an amazing composer, conductor, professional film and television editor. So what he made for us is 30 minutes that will absolutely give you goosebumps.
Oh boy.
3 of us watched it. I didn't know. I wished I could elevate, actually, after it was over. It's so good. It's so very, very good. And did the go-go dancers come together? Are we having go-go dancers?
I think we are.
I think we are.
Okay.
But it's going to be wonderful, and it's going to be on October 19th.
Okay.
Yes.
And
What day is that?
that is a Saturday.
Saturday. What time?
At
5:30.
5:30. And we're living this. So. And tickets are available at livefromauburn.com.
Yeah.
And of course, one could also call the theater at 530-885-0156.
I have a flyer.
Okay.
And it's groovy.
It really
so
matches.
hold that up.
It really matches what Susan is
Yeah.
wearing,
Okay.
doesn't it?
But it's going to, and it's the tickets are $100 for one person, but for a couple it's $150. So you
Okay.
get a big discount if you come as a couple.
And a couple can be 2 people buying tickets together.
Yes.
Couple is anything with 2.
Anything with 2. All
And
right.
then we have wonderful cocktails. We're doing a vodka martini a la James Bond. And then also a drink called a Vesper, which I do not know the ingredients of, but tomorrow I will. And because that's when we're having our meeting. And then an array of 60s appetizers. And if we can pull it off, we're working with Pat and Pete Enix, so you know the food will be incredible. And if we can pull it off, we will be having a fondue bar. So we're pretty excited about the whole thing. And you can buy a picture of yourself driving the Batmobile, or you can buy a card of raffle tickets to enter the
drawing.
the drawing, not the raffle,
Okay.
the drawing for the drive in the Batmobile.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Holy gee willikers, Batman.
Right,
Exactly.
headline.
Right, exactly. But it really is going to be a swinging good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And we just booked a fun Christmas thing, which is Maria Muldaur and John Jorgensen doing Holiday Swing.
Oh boy. Wow. So that's very exciting. Very, very. That's thrilling. And I'm speechless. So, every time I go to the state, I'm greeted by lots of volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
People are in the theater itself saying, "How can I help you?" The people are selling me popcorn. People are taking pictures of my tickets. People are there's a woman at the ticket window.
Yes, box office.
Yes. And do you have enough volunteers? Why, Susan? No, we don't have enough volunteers. Well then,
right.
please tell me how a person can get to be a volunteer.
You can go to our website, livefromauburn.com, and fill out the volunteer form. You can call the office, 885-0156, and make an appointment to speak with the volunteer coordinator. Or you can walk right in and pick up a form. Then there is a bit of a process that follows with interviewing and training and shadowing in the positions that you're interested in. But we are dependent on volunteers.
That seems obvious.
Yes.
And everybody I talk to while they're volunteering and later, out on the street or at dinners or people I know, they're thrilled. They seem thrilled to be a part of this organization.
We just had an amazing volunteer party.
Uh-huh.
And if people want to know where their tips go, when they put a tip in one of those ball jars, goes to the parties. We have very good parties.
to appreciate the volunteers,
Yes.
because we couldn't
Yes.
do it without them.
Yes,
And they don't get
exactly.
paid.
Right.
So this is a way of us recognizing them, that we appreciate them.
Yes.
So it's our speciality to be able to give them a lovely party where everyone enjoys themselves and everybody gets to have a good time. Sometimes we involve dancing. Sometimes we have a band. Most recently, we went to Cask Winery. And that has a double purpose because it also allows us to patronize the winery with whom we do business.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think if you asked the volunteers, that to the person they would say, the parties are fine, but going to the theater and
Yes.
being a part of the show and serving the patrons is what they really enjoy.
It is absolutely true, Barbara. At the Ray Charles Project on Saturday night, we had a full house and a full crew, and it went so smoothly, and that makes everyone feel very good.
Yeah. I have been in the room when you have talked about people, performers coming back, and how happy, how impressed they are
Yes.
by the way the state runs and the sound of the state and the appreciation of the audience. That's such great news for Auburn.
It is.
And they certainly aren't shutting up. They are saying this only to you guys.
Right.
They would tell everybody.
And it's very much about the building and about the room.
Yeah.
We're enhancing what is already there.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, Janice Wyckoff, Executive Director of our wonderful Auburn State Theater, and Barbara Goodson, Fundraising Manager, person in charge of it. Thank you very much for joining me. People, attend the State Theater. Go online at livefromauburn.com. You learn about both on stage and on screen at the same time, or not. You can choose to look at one or the other. 985 Lincoln Way. Office hours 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Tuesday through Friday, or phone 530-885-0156. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for being my guest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.